Hi everyone. You might know my special guest as Call Me Belly on TikTok, where he blends food reviews and recipes with a dash of situational humor with over 1.4 million followers on TikTok. Please welcome Elliot Norris. Not only is he a proud advocate of his Jewish heritage, but he's also an influential expert of travel and food. Israel holds a special place in his heart as one of his favorite destinations to explore. Hi, Elliot.
Hey, how are you?
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm okay, a bit nervous, but I'm really excited to meet you today. And we're really excited to have you here with us on the Creator's Take. And maybe just to learn a bit more about you and your journey as a creator. So I'd be very happy if you can tell us just a bit about yourself, like a fun fact that not many people know.
Yeah. So my name is Elliot Norris. I am a full-time creator now online. I started off working in TV. I've worked for studios. I've worked for tech companies, and they never gave me a shot to do the social team. So I started doing it on my own. So that's kind of how I started. And yeah, a fun fact about me is that I'm fluent in French. Yes, I have my French passport, so I got a little dual citizenship.
Okay, that's very cool. And at what age exactly did you start?
So I've played around with social media for like my whole life. I grew up like on YouTube, that kind of era when it started. So I've always kind of played around it, but really full time doing it, it's been 3 to 4 years. Yeah.
And how exactly would you describe your journey as a creator, like as an experience for now?
I mean, being a creator is weird. It's crazy. It's fun. It's bizarre. It's kind of a roller coaster. I mean, there's so many perks to it. I mean, I'm so blessed that I can almost be my own boss to a certain degree, but it can be a roller coaster. There's a lot of self-doubt that comes to it. There's I don't know, there's burnout. There's a lot of different things that occur that, you wouldn't expect. But yeah, I mean, I love it.
And about the self-doubt that you just said, your brand is like mostly about body positivity and being secure about yourself. So did you started as being this kind of influencer, or did you just roll with it when you had the chance?
So, I mean, my whole life, I wouldn't say my whole life, but a lot of my life, I've been insecure about like who I was, my weight, my sexuality, all these different things. And I think it came to a point when I was finished with grad school and I was figuring out what I wanted to do in life. And I was working these jobs and I liked it, but I wanted something different. And I don't know, I think it was almost like a switch one day. I was just on social media and I was seeing all of these six-pack people, these beautiful looking people. I'm not saying that I'm not beautiful. I'm a very beautiful person and I love myself. But I was just seeing all these things that weren't me. And I just started putting myself out there. And people were like, wow, thank you. This is so refreshing to see somebody different from what I'm seeing every day. So it was very fast. When I saw this kind of positive reaction, I was like, okay, this could be something. And I hopefully am helping out people,
That sounds very cool and fun. But I guess that you also had like many challenges through your way as a creator. So what challenges did you face and what did you do with them?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different, when you put yourself out on the internet, on different platforms, you get different challenges, you get different types of hate, you get different types of, maybe there's hate because you're gay, maybe there's hate because of your religion, maybe there's hate because of your body. There's so many different types of hate. And then on top of that, you can have hate for the type of video that you did. You'd be like, oh, well, I hate you for, what you did in this video, and that's like a different stem of hate. So there can be a lot of hate, but I think over time, you learn to not become numb to it, because I don't know if that's the correct and healthy response to say, but you learn how to deal with it. You learn how to ignore it. You learn, that you're better than that,
And how exactly would you really describe your brand as a creator?
I think my brand as a creator has changed over time a lot. And I think that's pretty common for a lot of creators. I think some creators kind of put themselves in little spaces, which is fine. It's great, whether it's your cooking, whether you do comedy sketches, whatever it is. But for me personally, I mean, I started off as food. And I still do a lot of food. I eat a lot. I eat on my page at least a few times a week. But I think over time it's just evolved. You know, I've wanted to become almost like a personal diary of myself and what I'm experiencing and what I'm seeing every day, whether it's, you know, social circumstances, whether it's my day-to-day life, traveling, myself, language, religion, whatever it is. So I've kind of just forced people to tune into my daily life, I guess.
Do you have maybe like a funny story about making food or recipes and stuff that you can share?
I mean, let me think. Well, a funny story about the internet. I mean, there's a lot of funny stories. I mean, you get to meet some pretty crazy people, and you know, I think you don't realize how many people are watching you until you like run into these people online, and you're like, these people that you like look up to and that you've watched online or you've watched on TV, and they're like, oh my God, I love your videos. And you're like, what, me? You're watching me just like cook and eat online? Like, you like me? Like, get out of here. But you know, there's so many different types of content out there. So, you know, I don't know. It's a good feeling, you know.
You also mentioned like collaborating and meeting with new people, and you said crazy people. I hope everything is okay. But what do you say like about collaborating? You live here in LA. I suppose many influencers live around too. So how do you choose who to collaborate with and what to do on those videos?
Yeah. I mean, collaboration is great. Do you need it? No. But it's a very good thing to have, you know, being in LA and being in a big city where there is a lot of creators, you know, that's one of the main reasons why I stay here. That doesn't mean that you have to come to LA to be a good creator. You can be a creator on your own in your little small town in the middle of nowhere in a small country. You know, you don't have to be anywhere, you know, it's all up here. That's just stuff on top. That's just the icing. That's just the sprinkles. You know, it's fun stuff. I mean, it's good to collaborate and I highly encourage it. But at the end of the day, it's kind of up to you to kind of create that. And if it involves other people, great. You know, I love to create with other creators. You know, I feel like I have a pretty good judge of character. You know, being in LA, you meet a lot of people. So you kind of get a feel for like people and you're like, okay, like I think we could do something fun together. So I think it's just putting yourself out there and trying stuff out. You know, you collaborate once and if it works well, then you do it again. If not, you don't have to ever again. You know, that's a nice thing about the internet.
And were you ever like shy to ask someone to collaborate with? Maybe when you were like smaller influencer and even now being shy?
Totally. I mean, I'm so shy in general. Like yesterday I was at a premiere and there was like Sandra Oh there, Bowen Chang. I was not going to go up and ask for a picture. I should have, or I should have done something. But like, I mean, it's pretty normal, you know? I think being a creator is a very new thing. It's, you know, it's like you're on the internet, but you're millions of people are watching you or thousands or whatever it is. So it's hard to get a sense of who really is watching you compared to like TV or movies. And there's all these production, you know, when the internet, you can just be by yourself. So it can be nerve wracking. You know, I'm shy, but I'm always trying to push myself a little more or surround myself with people who are pushing me in that direction.
And when collaborating, do you have like any tips or something that you think might be good for small influencers or even like big ones that you think you can share?
I think when you're first starting off as a creator, and just in general, I mean, this is still a rule that I go by, is just keep trying new things. Something that you might have liked a few years ago might not be something you want to do anymore. You know, like I used to do just recipes, and over time I was like, I don't want to cook anymore. I still do every once in a while, but I think it's always trying new stuff out because that's going to keep you on your toes and that's going to inspire you in different ways that you might not have known, you know. And then that's why it's good to collaborate with others because they might introduce you to something that you didn't even know that you liked, and you're like, wow, I really, really like this and I'm really passionate about it. And if you have an audience there who's paying attention, they want to see you happy as well. So I think it's just always trying new things out because you never know what's going to hit, you know? The internet's weird.
Many times when like small influencers like upload a video and it doesn't go viral, they get depressed. Do you get those feelings as well? Also when you were like smaller and now when you have a lot of followers?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel that all the time. Like I'll upload a video, I'm like, oh, this is flopping, but you can't really think about it like that. Like flopping is always, it's good. It helps you kind of gauge what people are wanting to see. Like it's never bad. It's like just another piece of data, I guess you have to think about it like that. But that's why it's good to try new things out, because if you just stick to the same thing and, you're flopping or whatever, it helps you kind of figure out maybe different paths or different passions that you should go towards. But hey, I flop all the time. I love flopping though. It's fun because then it makes me try out new things.
Yes, and also like before uploading videos, do you think about what people might think and if the same video will go viral, or you just upload it and hope that it will do good?
I mean, a little bit of both, Sometimes you think about videos a lot more and then you're doing a lot more editing and you're thinking about it more and it doesn't do as well, so you're like, you kind of beat yourself up. And sometimes you put something out there super random, and those are the videos, in my opinion, that always do better, is the ones that you like don't expect to do well. So that's why I tell people, I'm like, throw it out there, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But some of my biggest videos have just been like random things that I just thrown out there, so don't be afraid, throw it out, try it. You can always delete it later if you really want.
And what really motivated you to become like an advocate for body image discussions and really posting a lot of videos just on the same topic?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a part of like the LGBT community that we don't see as much. I think nowadays it's gotten a lot better. It's not perfect, but so the world is not perfect. But yeah, I mean, I wasn't seeing anybody like myself. So that's why I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to put myself out there. And the amount of messages I get, every day, it still blows my mind. And the comments and people writing these novels. And it's just really crazy that I'm like, just me posting a photo is inspiring you. But, it is. So, yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, I just wanted to throw myself out there. And, people reacted positively towards it. So I kind of kept going with it.
That must feel very good.
Yeah, it feels good.
And we also know that you've been to Israel, so can you just share a bit about your like experience? What did you do? What was fun?
So I've been to Israel a few times. I went on Birthright, which was very fun, a crazy experience. I almost got actually in a little bit of trouble on my Birthright tour because I was the drinking age in Israel is lower than it was in the US, and I got in trouble for drinking on my trip. So I almost actually got sent home on my trip. So fun fact, you can cut that out if you need to. But I love Israel. I love Israel. It's like one of my favorite countries. I just think there's the food, the culture. I've been, I think, 3 times. I went on Birthright. I went back with my mother because she had a conference there. And then I went back recently for a little kind of like, like convention, like a mini convention kind of thing. So, I mean, it's a great country. I love it.
And like, what exactly do you do when you go to Tel Aviv, when you go to Jerusalem? Where do you go? What places do you enjoy? And what about the people? What do you like to eat also?
I mean, I love going to Israel because I feel like I can really be myself. I think it's I think it's the only country in the Middle East where same sex, they recognize same sex marriage. So that's a really comforting feeling, being able to go there and know that there's so many people around me. There's so many gays over there. I love it. But it's a good feeling, the food, the culture. And I think I really like going there to kind of re-educate myself. I think it's always a good time for me to kind of really think about my history and where my family comes from and my religion and my roots. And it's a good kind of, whether it comes from the food, whether it comes from meeting other people, learning about the history, whatever it is, I think it's a great time to kind of, center myself, I guess,
Were you at Israel during like Pride Week, Pride Month?
I wish. I want to go. Maybe next year. Hey, I'm gonna try to get let's get the Tel Aviv Pride to send me over there. I would love it. But no, I think I will try to go next year. It sounds pretty crazy though. I'm not gonna lie. I've heard it's pretty crazy.
And before like visiting Israel and going there, did you consider the potential reactions of your crowd and people here in LA, in United States?
Totally. I mean, the thing about the internet is, especially I've noticed like on TikTok and stuff, just the mentioning of the word Israel is like the comment section gets crazy, So I had a feeling, even before going there that it was, going to be somewhat, left, right. There was going to be two sides to everything. There was going to be crazy things. There was going to be threats. I guess I didn't realize until I got there how much violence and hate there was going to be in some of the comment section. Like I've, gotten some crazy hate for different things for different reasons. But I will say, like, when I went to Israel, I was like, wow, like this is very interesting. A lot of people have some pretty crazy opinions or thoughts about Israel who've never been there, who don't know anything about it. All they see is, crazy clips on TikTok of just horror stories or whatever it is. So I thought that was really interesting.
And do you have like anything to say maybe about Israel as a country and maybe the friends you got there?
I mean, I love Israel. It's one of the countries that I feel very safe in. I feel secure. I feel like I could be myself. I think, and that's very common for a large population, whether you're Jewish, whether you're not Jewish. I mean, I think people think that it's just Jewish people in Israel. Like, no, it's not. There's different types of people there. There's not just Jewish people. And I think it's a melting pot for different cultures, different food, whatever it is. I think before saying anything, you really should experience the country, or at least speak to people, or really educate yourself on the country itself. Is it a perfect country? No. But is the US a perfect country? Absolutely not. So I think it's one of those things where, you really do, if you really want to have an opinion on it, like, do your research and go visit. And if you go visit it, you're probably going to have a great time. I've tried to get creators to go there, and creators that, were a little bit hesitant or scared have gone there, and they're like, wow, no, it was amazing. I had a great time. Did they get a little bit of hate online? Yeah, but they got past it. They realized that what they were putting out there was more important than all the negativity,
Do you think maybe about like maybe share a bit less about your trip next time, or even canceling it to Israel just because of the bad comments that you got?
No, of course not. Like I said before, I mean, for me at least, what I put there online is like my diary, and it's like what I'm experiencing every day. And I would never, no matter where I go, I would never take that out or erase that. Like, that just goes against everything, that I stand for. So no, absolutely not. Every time I go, I will post whatever I want and be myself and have a great time.
And do you ever feel like you're trying to please maybe your crowd, your followers, just to get like more views and likes?
I mean, no. Like, hypothetically, no. I mean, do I put some stuff out there that I know will do like better? Hypothetically, yes. But at the end of the day, if you don't like what I put out there, you can unfollow it real quick, and it's up to you if you're gonna do it. You say you will, but you're probably not gonna,
And what was the most memorable part of your trip to Israel? Like, what thing you the must do when you go to Israel?
I mean, I'm a big foodie, so going to all the markets and trying all the food is definitely like always a highlight, because I actually was like astounded, because I come from a European background, and food standards are really, really high in Europe compared to the US. They suck here. But in Israel, it really was better than I remembered. And I was like, wow, like the vegetables, the food just tastes so much better here. So other than food though, I think it's just, I don't know. I like being around the people, I think the people are great.
And also, like, going back to being an influencer, what do you think is like a good way to engage young Americans in your content? I know that, like, if you talk about creators from Israel or maybe any other country in the world, people are really trying to like make it to the USA because they know that's where like the big crowd is. So do you have like any tips or something for people trying to get here?
Yeah, I mean, especially for any creators, whether they're in Israel or not, is just really sharing your day-to-day life, I think, and sharing your country, who you are, what you do. And if you do that unapologetically yourself, I think that will translate a lot more, and just really trying to educate people, but educating people in a way where it doesn't feel like they're just being talked to, like it's a lesson. You want to do it in a fun way, but also just share what they do every day. So I think that's probably the best way.
Do you feel like an educator, like your words has a meaning, that many people like feel more empowered when they see your videos?
I mean, I hope so. I mean, some of the stuff, like anybody, obviously is not going to be as educational, but sometimes you don't know that you're educating people when you actually are, even if you're traveling somewhere, even if you're sharing a food, you're sharing part of the language, you're sharing the people, you're sharing just parts of yourself. People are learning more than you think. It always amazes me. I don't know how much people take away from something silly that I'll put online. I'm like, oh, that was such a silly video. And they're like, no, I actually learned a lot about the country, who you are, what people do. So don't be afraid to put anything out there.
And how about like paid ads? Do you feel less secure about your content and what people will think about it after posting like a paid ad when you're basically getting paid to do it?
No, I mean, people have to realize that you have to make a living. Creators have to make a living. We have rent to pay. I want to buy a house. So it's normal. I think if you're really transparent about it, then it's fine. But if you're sneaky about it and you're being, I don't know. But if you keep the ads, I don't know, very relevant to who you are as a person, then I think it translates better. I mean, I think as a creator, it's your job to learn how to make an ad that works on your page, and something you learn over time. I'm still learning it. I've had some ads that do great. Some I'm like, oh wow, that was, not great. But it just depends the brands. Some brands have different ideas of what they want to put out there, and they have certain ideas. But no, at the end of the day, no, I don't feel bad about making money because I need to make money.
And do you have like practical tips about posting, maybe like the length of the videos or sound or anything like that, just for like young creators to maybe understand how to do better?
Yeah. I mean, I think the internet right now used to be very into short form content, and it still is. Short form content is king. Anything under 1 minute is what they say. But I think really it's about putting your content everywhere, whether it's on YouTube Shorts, whether it's on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, whatever it is. You might have your content work really well in one place and it might not work well in other places. I have certain platforms that don't do as well, but that's fine because as long as it's growing in some places, it's great. But I think it's just about trying new things out and seeing what sticks.
And how do you really manage to upload to so many platforms, like, as you said, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, all of these? It's like so much work.
I mean, it sounds like a lot of work, but once you have the video, you just got to, it's your job. It's my job. I just got to, upload it to different spots. But I think it's important to really try out different things. But like I said, short form is definitely the best way to go. That's just what most of the platforms are pushing right now. That doesn't mean you have to. If you want to go into more long depth ideas or education, go for it. But I think just trying stuff out, keep it short, and be yourself.
And do you have any idea of maybe like what are the people who are following you? Who are they? Where are they from? Like, how do you know it?
I mean, so like kind of what I mentioned before, it's good to put your stuff everywhere because you might have different audiences. So like for me on TikTok, my audience is mostly females who are over 25. And then on Instagram, it's mostly males. And on Facebook, it's elderly moms like in their 30s and 40s. And so I think it's just good to just put yourself out there wherever, So, yeah.
And if you had a chance to like communicate with your younger self, the creator you were just in the beginning, do you have anything you might want to say just for like other creators who were now in the same position as you were?
Totally. I mean, I have no regrets. I do wish I would have started a little bit sooner because the idea has always been there in my head. So if you feel that itch it. Do what you want to do. And yeah, I guess just follow your instinct. Don't feel like you have to go to school for a certain thing if you don't really feel passionate about it. I mean, the world is so different these days. The internet, you can make money on different types of the internet. So if you feel passionate about it, then just go for it. And do it now. Don't do it tomorrow. Do it now. Post that video now. Whatever it is, do it now.
And where do you get this self-confidence to like just act? Like I know you have like some productive like videos and stuff. How do you do it? Like did you started doing it, or when did you started like doing the same videos?
Yeah. I mean, I think over time my self-confidence has gotten better and better because of the people that I know who are being positively affected by it. So just the fact that they feel confident has made me feel more confident of what I put online and just myself in general. So it's cheesy, but you gotta, thank you to the fans, because they really do, over time, that's what's built my confidence and allowed me to kind of grow in general.
Going back to our mission as an organization, what content do you feel like most American teens would like to see about Israel?
Personally, this goes back. I've said authenticity like so many different times, and it's so annoying, but it's like really like I just want to see the day-to-day life. I want to see what people are experiencing, whether it's great day-to-day normal life, whether it's something maybe a little bit scary that's happening. The thing with Israel, there's a lot of different things going on. There's so many different people. So I think if you just share where you're from and what is going on and what you're doing, and I don't know, that's what I would want to watch. Like if I haven't seen any yet, but if I want to watch an Israeli content creator who just shares their day-to-day life, what they're seeing, what they're experiencing, what they're growing through, what they're eating, what they're watching on TV, like all of this stuff, is personally what I would watch. And I think a lot of the internet would relate to that. A lot of these creators in Europe, if they're in French, they like to see what French people are doing. What do they like to see what Spanish people are doing today? So I think Israel has a really unique opportunity where there was a lot going on in the country, and there's good stuff, there's conflict, there's a lot of different things going on. And I think it would be, I think they're very educational to kind of learn that.
And do you ever block people that maybe send you something bad about the content or you as a person? Because you said when people are talking about Israel, it's something else than just talking really specifically about you and who you are.
Yeah. If you keep seeing somebody in your comments and they are just not it, block them. Who cares? I gotta block. I block people all the time. People who try to come for you or hate for you. When you put yourself on the internet, it's gonna happen. If it doesn't happen to you, wow, you are probably, I don't know. I don't think that even exists. Like anybody, anytime you put yourself on the internet, you're going to get some type of backlash at some given time. So yes, use those block features. Use the features in the app where it filters out certain words. TikTok does it great. Instagram does it great. If you don't want people talking about some certain topic, filter that out. Live in your own little delusion, and live in your head. Do whatever you want.
And about Snapchat, because I know in Israel we don't really use the app. Do you think maybe trying to use Snapchat as a sharing app also, such as TikTok, would help Israeli creators?
Yeah, it's one of those things where, I do a little bit on Snapchat. It's probably not one of the platforms I do, but I have a lot of friends who do great on Snapchat, and they make a lot of money on Snapchat. So if you can crack the Snapchat code, let me know. But Snapchat's about spam posting. You have to post a lot on Snapchat, like 30, 40, 50, 60 times a day. So if you're an Israeli and if you want to cover that market, go for it. Just be really annoying and post photos and videos of everything, and that's how you get famous on Snapchat. You just spam post. But if it's a platform that works for you, I have friends who actually just only do stuff on Snapchat, and they make great money. So, you just have to find the right platform that works for you,
Elliot, I'm also a part of Talkisrael organization, and I just wanted to know, what practical tips can you give to me and also other content creators working with us?
I think consistency is one of the most important things. It's just really being consistent, We learn to they tell us, the platforms, every day. If you can post every day, post every day. It really helps out with the algorithms. It helps kind of set a baseline and for what people to expect. Every day, I'm going to see a video from this person, whether they think about it or not, it'll become subconscious over time, but really being consistent with posting. And sometimes I will say, a personal tip, quantity over quality sometimes is preferred for a lot of these platforms. I do a lot of work with Instagram and TikTok, and sometimes it's just really putting out, if you're really feeling inspired that day and you want to post 3 or 4 videos, post 3 or 4 videos. Who cares? Honestly, it'll probably help out. The odds are in your favor. If you're putting out 4 videos there, one of them is bound to do pretty well. Maybe the other ones don't do as well, but hey, you just had a viral video out of one of those. So quantity over quality. Yeah, I think that's a good one. Yeah.
Did you ever like wanted to make a video and then just did like, I don't know, 1,000 shots and then decided, okay, I'll drop it?
Yeah. I think the internet now is really starting to embrace imperfection, which is great because that's in our favor. So I think the old days of like having perfect shots and having the lighting being perfect, all of that stuff thrown out the window. If you're putting out good content there that people are reacting to positively, if people are talking in the comment section, if people are sharing it, it doesn't matter if you have the perfect frame or not. So, I mean, I've had videos where I take like a million shots and I'm like, oh my God, I should have just taken one shot. It would have probably been more authentic. So I think that goes back into just being authentic and being yourself. Sometimes if you mess up or, you don't say things perfectly as you wanted to, or the camera falls, whatever it is, all those little nuances sometimes are kind of what makes the video different from what everyone else is putting out there, I think really imperfection is something that's really being embraced online. So yeah, imperfection is the way to go.
So do you or do you not script your videos?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, there's some videos, if I'm doing a skit or something like that, usually I do like to have a good sense of what I'm going to kind of say. But personally, for myself, I'm more an impromptu, kind of on the fly kind of thing. That translates better for me on camera. But if you're someone who needs to write down all of your scripts, everything you're going to say, the shots, go for it. I have content creator friends who are psycho. They have like 20-second videos that they script out, that they, set 2 different cameras up. If that's what works for you, then that's what works for you. If you're someone who wants to just put up the camera and blab on a little bit and shake it, whatever, if that works for you, then it works for you. But I think it kind of just goes into leaning into what works for you best. Some things work for you, things work for other people.
And how do you feel about like editing videos for hours for just like 15 seconds video? Do you ever do that?
I mean, over time, you obviously get a lot faster with editing. Personally, I like to shoot everything on my phone, team iPhone. If you have an Android, it's fine. It doesn't matter what you're shooting on. Some of these biggest content creators, they have janky cameras, and they're just funny people. They're just funny and real people. It doesn't matter what the quality is. It doesn't matter how good the sound is. Actually, the sound and the quality might give that special oomph. That's what takes it to the next level or over the top. So it doesn't matter what you're shooting on. I mean, personally, I just like my stuff shot on iPhone because I like to edit on my phone. I can have like 6 terabytes of data stored on my phone and just like tons of videos. So I just have a bunch of stuff, but it doesn't really matter what you're shooting on. I edit mostly on CapCut. Some people like to shoot videos in app, on TikTok and then upload them. Whatever works best for you. I like to have the raw files myself, shoot everything on just the camera app on my phone and edit in CapCut is what I like. I can put captions on there. I can throw a little music. I can throw a little transition. I can throw a little, funny noise here and there. But that's what works best for me. It might not work for everybody, but for me, that's what works best.
Might be worth mentioning nothing is sponsored or anything. But also, someone whispered here that tomorrow you're going to like a TikTok event, lecturing to many brands and stuff.
Yeah, so tomorrow I'm going to be speaking in front of a bunch of Fortune 500 companies. So I'm a little bit nervous for that, but I'm excited. And I think it's very interesting. This is a really cool time to be a creator because it's a new business. This is a really new business. This is like 5 to 10 years old. And I honestly would say, really, when most brands started really getting involved, it's been 3 years. It is brand new. These companies don't know the internet. They really don't know the internet. So they're trying to learn as well. And that's the fun thing is like, oh, I feel like I'm a professional. Okay, you'll take my advice. Like, it's great. But yeah, brands are just trying to understand new audiences, how people consume content. They're used to like throwing ads on TV, very scripted things. And that might not be the way anymore, So I'm excited. I'm nervous, but I guess I'm excited to educate these brands and hopefully advise them in the right ways on how to work with creators, how not to work with creators. I think as a creator, people turn on to your pages to, I don't know, to watch yourself. And these companies sometimes want to have boring ads and these scripted things and stuff that just doesn't translate as well. So hopefully going there, I can educate these brands on how to be less boring on the internet.
And do you think maybe like one day just working for Nike or something and abandon your identity as like Elliot?
No, I mean, I feel like it's honoring, it's flattering. I've worked with some crazy companies. I've worked with the McDonald's. I've worked with, the list. I have so many brands. Pizza Hut. I've done things for clothing companies. I've worked with the platforms directly as well. So it's honestly like so freaking dope that these companies come to you and they're like, we want to work together. Like, we like your vision. We like what you put out there. We like what you stand for. We're totally here for it. And here's some money. And so, no, I think it's anything. It's just, it's kind of just helps you have more of a portfolio, I guess.
And going back to your identity online, what courage do you think teens need when posting something and when sharing videos?
It takes a lot of courage to put yourself online, especially in the beginning. When I first started uploading, I was like, oh no, my friends from high school are going to see this. My friends from college are going to see this. My old coworkers are going to see this. My dad's going to see this. I still think about that. My dad still watches my stuff and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe you're watching this. Like, this is so embarrassing. But you have to throw that out of the window. At the end of the day, like, hypothetically, thousands, millions of people might see your content. So it doesn't really matter. You're going to have to put yourself out there anyways. Your old boss is probably going to see your videos. But hey, that's cool. You can't think about it as like embarrassing or whatever it is. Sometimes I do, but that's normal. It's, you have to, I don't know. It takes a lot of courage. It does take a lot of courage. And I think the more you do it, the more you kind of become numb to it, I guess. You're like, okay, there's just another video. And you're like, oh, that got 100,000 views. But that just sounds like a number. But then when you look at it, you're like, oh my God, that's like 5 football stadiums. Like, that's a lot of people. So I think the more you do it, the more, you'll gain confidence and be able to put your full, like, authentic self out there. I think courage used to be defined as something that's very like cookie cutter. Oh, you're so confident. But I think these days with the internet, just being your true self, whether you speak English perfectly, whether you have a disability, whether you're gay, whether you have no friends, whether you're the most popular person on the world, whether you can't speak, like whatever it is, it doesn't matter, because those things are what sets you apart. And that's what people are going to tune into. People want to see that. People want to see that authenticity. People want to see you. That's what sets you apart. So be yourself. You have to be yourself. Because if you're not yourself, people see through that people see through that now. You don't realize it, but people can just tell when you're not being authentic, when you're not being yourself, when you're trying to cover something up, whether you're masking it. So yeah, just being your true self,
And also, I know you're working with Instagram as well as TikTok. Do you have like Instagram insights,
Yeah, so I would say obviously consistency is key. Don't worry about times or dates or how much you're uploading. If you're uploading 20 videos a day, maybe rethink that, maybe take a step back and, maybe filter it out and pick a few. But at the end of the day, the algorithms are so good, especially on TikTok, that it doesn't matter when you upload, where you upload from. If it's a good piece of content, it'll get to the right people. So I think, just really putting it out there. Obviously hashtags are a great way. Now the algorithms are so good that you really don't even need that many hashtags. You don't need to put 50 hashtags in there. Actually, less is better. Don't put 50 hashtags in your videos. Like, really don't do that. It's probably more of a red flag. But I think really also using the tools that the platforms have to offer. It's really annoying, but like if you use like the Instagram text in your videos, that's probably going to push the video. Same thing with TikTok. If you use their sounds, their annoying little sounds, the voice to text stuff, like little things like this, push your video. They want your video to look like a TikTok video. They want your video to look like an Instagram video. They want your video to look like YouTube video. So using these different features in app will help out your content. So yes.
And did you ever like deleted a video that was already online just and then upload it again just because it felt like you wanted it to go reach more people?
Mm. Yeah, I think there's been a few times, there's a few times when I've deleted something and I remember it didn't do very well. And I was like, that was a really good video. Like, I thought that would do well. And sometimes you just throw it out and you're like, okay, whatever. Not everything's going to hit. But I think there's a few times when I've actually re-edited different things. There's different analytics that you can look into, like on these platforms, TikTok, Instagram, when people drop off. If people dropped off at 5 seconds, what was that 5-second clip where people stopped watching? Maybe in a week or two, re-upload that video and kind of shuffle some stuff around. And it's worked in my favor a few times. I wouldn't say every time, because at the end of the day, if it's a good piece of content, it's a good piece of content. If people want to hear about this topic or whatever it is, it'll work. But yeah, sometimes it's fun. That's just part of learning as a creator, is trying new things out and cutting up your content in different ways. Maybe if you had a 60-second video, cut it up in 30 seconds. Try different things out.
Okay, so I think you're really amazing. Like, I'm amazed by what you said. Thank you so much, and see you next time.